Today I'm going to explain why women's basketball is still run through UConn. Well, to start off, Gino Armanema has 14 national titles, and Don Stanley has two. And you would think, with a team of South Carolina that has so much hype, that when Don Stanley, which is now the highest paid coach in women's college basketball, you would think they would um, have more national championships. Um, but I mean, UConn before 2023, they went to 14 straight Final Fours. Gino, they haven't missed a tournament since he's taken over. Um, or it was in his second season. So, and UConn is also rebuilding, or they were rebuilding because they had so many injuries. They had like three or four top five picks in the drafts in consecutive seasons. So you really have to really appreciate what UConn has done. And I've been a UConn critic for a while, but you gotta respect the whole university for what they've been able to do. And then also, just to put it in perspective, um, so in 2016, 38 and 0 UConn, 2015, 38 and 1, 40 and 0, 2014, um, 2010 and 2009, 39 and 0, 2002, 39 and 0, 2000, 36 and 1. You see the trend here, 1995, 35 and 0. Perfect seasons. But why is South Carolina supposed to be the top alpha dog? They lost their perfect season, fell short last year against um, Iowa. And I mean, you really have to. Was that because Caitlin Clark's a generational player? Maybe. But at the same time, this had to do with South Carolina not scheduling as a tough um, games throughout the non-conference games throughout the year. I mean, don't get me wrong, they're a really good team. They're really good. But to win a national title, you're not going to be able to walk over teams that you play throughout the year, especially on the lower end of the SEC. Like UConn also is in the Big East, which is also a very high level conference. SEC has also been really good recently, but you just have to understand um, that a lot of this had to do with women's basketball being super lopsided and like the gap between the number one, number two overall team compared to the next 10. But South Carolina have been very sloppy. They've been blowing 20-point leads to Indiana and um, who was it before? But they've been just playing a lot of sloppy ball, and it's gonna cost them. Because UConn is gonna want to go to the Final Four again because they haven't been in a couple years now because of that COVID year. But um, they're going to really want to get that revenge on South Carolina because that was when they lost the national championship against South Carolina. That was the first time UConn lost a national title game um, ever. So yeah, UConn. I think if they get past Iowa or LSU, UConn's winning it all. Um, this is I'm just saying this is more about why UConn and South Carolina, when you get to this point in the tournament, you really just can't play. You can't. You have to play sound. You can't. These teams will make you pay, and that's what happened last year when Iowa took them out. Iowa then kind of sat on it, and they lost to LSU, which they're both playing tonight. But you really have to understand, you can't just say South Carolina is the dominant force when, since Stanley took over in 2014, 2015, only two national titles to show for it. I mean, the whole argument is, if you call yourself a powerhouse in a dynasty, you have to win championships. Um, and I know it's hard. It's hard. That's why the UConn dynasty and record and all the WNBA players are so incredible. It's because it's so hard to do that in today's game with the transfer portal and everything. And I think that's also part of why UConn has been on the decline a little bit. But UConn is going to be UConn. Trust me, UConn with Paige Deckers this year. If I think they're going to be USC tonight. I think they're going to handle them pretty well. Um, I get it, Juju Watkins. I won't be surprised if USC wins the Trojans, but um, I really believe that UConn is due for a championship, and this will be their, I believe, 15th national title. And um, but yeah, let me know what you guys think. But um, this is UConn's year.